Ready to go? All right, we'll call the meeting to order. Jen, would you take roll, please?
Commissioner Corbin?
Here.
Commissioner Johnson?
Here.
Commissioner Waldner? Commissioner Thune?
Here.
Mayor Lindsay?
Here. You have before you the agenda for this evening.
Motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Seeing no appearances, does anyone have anything they want to remove from the consent calendar? If not, do we have a
Motion
motion?
to approve the consent calendar.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Seeing no old business, under new business, authorize the use of the library building reserve for the roof repair. Chad, do you or Nancy want to address that? Nancy, do you have something you want to say?
Yes, please.
Please come up to the mic.
We have a 20-year-old roof, the flat sections of which have been a problem of late. In February, we had Keeper Roofing go up on the roof, and they honestly couldn't tell a lot because it was thawed and frozen and thawed and frozen. But it is 20 years old, and they had been there before any number of times and said it was time to replace it. So we requested the proposal, which you have a copy of in your packet. We also requested an analysis and evaluation from the architect that designed the addition to the building. And he did respond, said that he thought the proposal looked good, that the price was fair, and that the repair would give us many years, at least 15, because that's a guarantee on the proposal, of service. We've been preparing for this for a number of years. We've been adding to our little building reserve fund on an annual basis. And so we're here now asking that we be allowed to spend approximately $20,000 for roof repair.
How much does that fund hold at this time, do you know? Yours, huh?
60-something. I do
Okay.
have it with me. I'm sorry. I can look it up quick, but her request is definitely there.
Okay.
Yeah, I would.
Now Nancy, are they doing the whole thing or just the flat?
Just the flat.
Just the flat parts on this in here, okay? And I like that they're gonna contour it a little bit. Just an FYI, I had the subway roofs redone. What a difference it made, you know,
When I
much
talked
better.
to the architect on the phone, he said, they have made huge strides. And I said, good.
Mhm.
Because it has been, we've had issues with this roof on and off for probably 8 years.
Mhm.
Sounds like it's time then.
It's-
Well, they would fix it, and it would be fine for 2 or 3 years, and then we'd have a freeze and thaw winter again, and we'd have issues. So that seems to be what does it every time for us.
Well, and what I liked on mine, and that is that they contoured it enough so that there is no standing water.
And as I
It
remember,
all
one
drains
side
off.
is better, is in worse shape than the other, but it's on its way to,
Right,
Same
we've been very
disrepair.
fortunate.
Yeah.
Shane
Yeah.
Fry across the street at the courthouse always checks our roofs from when he's up on the third
Mhm.
floor at the courthouse. Always looks across, and I occasionally get a call saying, Nancy, there's water standing on whatever side. And I'll get someone up there to open the doors or whatever it takes.
I make a motion to authorize the use of the library building reserves in the amount of $19,950 for roof repair.
Did you want that to be up to 20? Did you want to put a cushion on there, or were we comfortable with the 20 for this amount here, for the quoted amount?
That's a $50 difference.
Okay, thank you. We're fine there.
Okay. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Authorize the mayor, thank you. We do need to take care of the city's buildings, no question. Mother Nature will reclaim them. Authorize the mayor to sign the Hall Road agreement. And Chad, I'm going to ask you to address this.
Thank you. I can say a few words, and then Mr. Greg Alberg is here from the South Dakota Department of Transportation, he may have some things to add or clarify for that as well. But for the project that's obviously ongoing on Second Street with the state reconstruction, they need a haul route to haul, most particularly in this case, is to haul out the concrete surfacing that's being removed, and then also to haul in the granular materials coming back onto the project. I'll let Mr. Alberg talk about if, I don't believe it's a requirement that every single piece of equipment and comes back on this, i.e., what I mean there is manholes being shipped from Sioux Falls, or legal load concrete trucks from the local plant, et cetera. But the bulk of what I originally described, which is the granular base material and the concrete leaving the project, those should follow this route and then go towards Reineke's Pit is where they're planning to be taken here. I did provide you a copy of the actual document. It's not in the agenda packet. I provided that before the meeting today. The only other couple points I want to make, it's listed on the agenda packet that it's an agreement with the South Dakota DOT and TNR Contracting. I mistakenly put that, asked that it be put in that place in that way. The agreement is entirely between the South Dakota DOT and the City of Madison. I don't believe TNR is a party to this agreement. And then finally, I did share this also with our attorney, Mr. David Jinks, and I don't know if he has any questions or concerns about it. I think this is somewhat of a standard or a document that the DOT uses for their agreements.
I saw it late today. I don't have anything specific to add.
And so with that, I would just defer if Mr. Alberg has any comments that he would like to submit.
It's, as Chad indicated.
Sir, I'm going to ask you if you'd come close to Mike, and the reason is because this is recorded, and then people at home will call and say, I couldn't hear him.
Yes, as Chad indicated, this is our standard document that we use for a haul road agreement. And it is, it's a formal agreement between the department and the city, allowing our contractor permission to haul waste product. In this case, the broken rubbleized concrete from Highway 34 out to the Reineke Pit. And then there is a small amount of gravel that will be coming back from that pit. I don't think it's very much. I don't know the specific amount. I do know that the lion's share of the granular material will be coming off of Highway 34. Those are the only things that will be used on the haul route. That is designated on that agreement. All the other products coming into the project are going to be coming off of the highway system. So, and as far as, there is no costs to the city. All the costs are between the department and the contractor, if there's any repairs after we're done. And we've done an inspection of the route. We video recorded the entire route. We've taken some measurements, and we'll add those measurements to the document when we get it back. And then when we get all said and done, we'll go and take a look at it again and see where we're at and see what may or may not need to be done to repair the route.
No, very good.
The only other thing I might add is, for the benefit of the public and the commission, occasionally they may see trucks looping onto the side streets, just one block off, typically, off of the highway, whether it's north or south, depending on the phasing of the work. And the contractor had talked to me about this. I've also talked to the DOT about this. That obviously whether they're coming or going from Reineke's Pit, they need to get turned around and get ready to be loaded in the opposite direction, if you follow me. And so they need, when they do turn on these side streets, they will be empty, unloaded trucks. So that's not part of this agreement necessarily, but it's related to hauling. You may get questions, from citizens and such as to them being on some of these side streets. The main route to and from the project should be as shown in this map here, basically northeast 3rd Street, and then ultimately curving by by Campbell's to northeast Second Street, which is the highway project. I thought I'd add that as well.
And Chad and I have driven all those routes and that, so we've got an idea, you know.
You only have one
But the-
school to contend with. And when you get up here to Van Epps to make your turn, you'll have St. Thomas. But
And I think, if I understand, correct me if I'm wrong, Chad, but as they get further west, I'm sorry.
West.
As they get further west, I don't expect them to use the residential streets
I
to the
believe,
extent like they are right now.
Yeah.
I think their plan is to use the bypass.
Come back in
route,
on the
come
bypass.
That way, yeah.
I believe that's correct, you know, and we certainly encourage that, but they,
Mhm.
you know, they have their access and egress points from their pit that they have to
Yeah.
keep in mind as well.
And I guess too, for further information, we have explored the option of using other routes to avoid Third Street and the gravel township road, recognizing that they're not in the most ideal condition. And after looking at the site where they're dumping and everything, this is the best route for them to use.
Mhm.
But it's not our preference, but it's something that we have to look at.
It's probably our preference because if a road falls apart, that's when we want to have redone. So, all right, any questions? Okay,
none for me.
do we have a motion?
Motion to authorize the mayor to sign the Hall Road Agreement, SDDOT/DNR Contracting, Inc., project number NH0034, parentheses 160, and parentheses 386, PCN 02R6, parentheses Highway 34/Second Street reconstruction, and parentheses.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Seeing no announcements, seeing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No.
Seeing no executive session. Oh, we got an announcement.
Yep. Citywide cleanup coming up, okay? The 9th through the 13th. So,
No, they can.
if you want, I'm sure there'll be more forthcoming. You can check the Call Public Works if you have any questions, 256-7512. It's probably worth noting that the folks on Second Street won't have access in terms of, as they have in the past. So they're instructed to put their stuff in the nearest alley and to communicate to their neighbors about that so that they'll still be able to get in on the cleanup, but they'll just have to put someplace other than when they have in the past at Second Street, because there seems to be some things happening on Second Street these days.
And tomorrow night is the mayor and school board forum at the high school at 7 PM. And the election is April 12th. So, seeing or hearing no other announcements, no executive session, do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.